Hey everyone, Mango7 here. How we doing today? Welcome to another Epic 7 video here. We're going to talk about Destina. Just as a warning, I have not done character spotlights too much before. I don't really do the organized thought sort of process unless it's like a really easy guide. So if you have any feedback on this video style, if you have any thoughts I can add, any updates, any better way to set this out, please let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear your feedback. That said, I feel like I have infinite wisdom to share in Epic 7 just because I am a Summoner's War veteran. I've been playing Summoner's War since basically day one. I know all of the ins and outs. I know it more than any game ever, still even like 3 years down the road after not playing it. And as I've said before a couple times, it's basically Summoner's War here, so I really think I can give you guys a lot of information here. So let's get into Destina. First off, let's just talk about her skills here. And I'm going to look at her skills actually through the skill list, which is in Hero and into Skill Enhance. So Destina is one I would say most accounts have at this point. I know a lot don't, but so many have her just because they rerolled for her, especially on the North American server. On the Korean server, she's not as popular. She's not considered the best healer or anything as she is here. So the first ability we have here is Key to an Oath, and what this does is every time you use it, it will heal the lowest HP unit on your team proportionate to Destina's max HP. If you soul burn this, this will also be doing AoE, healing back to your party, which is fantastic, but you can't dual attack, which is also kind of unfortunate. As for the skill enhance here, I don't think it's a very important skill enhance. The good ones here are up to 15% healing and 20% healing. Those will kind of help, but I don't think it's worth your Molagoras. Pretty solid first skill. I do like it, although not doing any debuffs is kind of unfortunate. Her second skill is called Regen, which is kind of a weird name for something that doesn't actually have a regen. So this one recovers their HP and increases their combat readiness. Again, this one is proportionate to her max HP. You really need to keep in mind what stuff scales off in this game. Just read the skills, it usually tells you. And the skill enhance is just healing, so another one of those ones. I really don't want to spend my baby mouse insignias on it, just as an example. Combat readiness is one of the biggest things in the game, especially for PvP once you understand the system. Let me know in the comments below again if you don't understand combat readiness, because maybe I can put out a speed/combat readiness video, since I know a lot of people are kind of confused by that. So her third one here is Destina's Grace, and this is her big whammo here. This does an AoE healing, which is basically full healing. It also dispels all debuffs before the heal, so it can dispel the heal block and then get it up. And also 15% combat readiness increased per each debuff they have. This is amazing. The reason to use Destina, basically. And again, this scales by her max HP. So I really recommend getting this to one turn cooldown here. If you have Destina, this should probably be your first priority unless you have some insane damage dealer, because this will help out your PvE, it'll help out your PvP, it'll help out your giant/golem farmings, it'll help everything out. So overall, her skill set is fantastic, but the thing is, she's just pure healing. Destina is 100% pure healing based unit, and she provides no debuffs or anything like that to your team. She also doesn't provide any real buffs outside of dispelling and combat readiness. So this is why a lot of the Korean players are not a huge fan of her. So let's talk about Destina's equipment here. Mine is kind of all over the place. Honestly, she doesn't need the best equipment to start off with. Mine basically never dies, and she doesn't have perfect gear whatsoever. But the idea is just to fill her up with HP as much as you can and try to get as many other defensive and speedy substats as possible. She doesn't need effectiveness at all, and effective resistance is also very helpful for her because you don't want to get stunned and not be able to heal. So the important slots you actually need to make a decision on, and this is something I don't know if everybody knows, but boots can have a variety of different stats on them. Your main stat here, the one that is white, is by far the most important stat. You really want a percent stat for this one unless it's speed, and speed cannot come in percent and is very important. So you really want to have flat speed if you have speed. So to give you an example here, I have these epic tier 4 boots. They're at flat HP, so I don't think I'm ever going to use those over an HP percent boost, even though the substats are insane. Maybe because the substats are so good, I might do it, but you're gonna get so much more value out of something like this one. Even though the substats are way worse, you're gonna get so much more max HP from the HP percent. So really keep that in mind when you're looking for gear. Another thing to say is these ones here, like flat attack and flat HP, and there's a couple others. Yeah, flat defense, those are basically all throwaways. You're never going to use those unless they're the most bonkers substats you've ever seen. And speed is the only flat one that is generally worthwhile. Speed is insane, especially for PvE and PvP. I guess that's both places. So my Destina, I don't like to have her too speedy. She is so slow, but I kind of like her to go after everybody just to full heal everybody up, because I'm tanky enough to survive the first couple hits. So I'm not sure on if I should balance speed versus HP yet. But again, just go for as many defensive substats as you can. This is my gear setup right now, and I'm having no problem. She never dies, she always full heals, and it's not the best set. Ideally, I think if I'm trying to make end game Destina, I go for a speed set and a HP set. I forget what they're called here. Swift Energy in Summoner's War. Health here, and the other set is... Of course I don't have any. The speed set, it gives you some speed. That's what I would do if I had a choice, but for most players, I would probably just stack as many health sets as possible, and then maybe a defense set if you can't finish off 6. I personally don't have something that matches here, so I ended up just using this one for the HP percent. So let's take a look at her artifacts now. You have a ton of choices here, and honestly, I'm not entirely sure which are right. Let's take a look at them and kind of talk through them with you guys. These are 5-star ones. You don't need 5-star artifacts. They're not always the best. This one heals the ally with the lowest HP by 12% when using a non-attack skill, up to 24% when it's max. I personally don't like this, and I don't think I would put it on my Destina outside of for the enhancing stats, just because she doesn't need extra healing. She needs anything but more healing. We also have Shamadra Staff, and I do like this one better, I think, but I'm not sure. This one increases the effect of all healing received by an ally by 20% or 40%. So if I understand this right, anytime you heal somebody, you get 20 to 40% extra healing. I have no idea if the wording on that is right. But again, this is not my favorite. I don't like extra throughput on Destina. She just doesn't need it whatsoever. As for the 4-star ones, we have a couple better options here. This one is Water's Origin. If damage taken exceeds 20% of max health, recovers 8% health and increases combat readiness by 10%. Anytime you take a big hit and increase your combat readiness, it's fantastic, because if they AoE your team, it can push your Destina up ahead of their next player and then be able to dispel all debuffs and do all sorts of shenanigans. So I do like Water's Origin better than the 5 stars so far. We also have Wondrous Potion Vial, and again, I think this one is better than the 5 stars as well. This one dispels 1 debuff from an ally at the beginning of the turn, kind of like Ravidi, I think his name is, from Summoner's War. Really, really cool there, and I do like this better than the 5 stars as well. I'm not sure on Water's Origin or Wondrous Potion Vial, but probably Wondrous Potion Vial, to be entirely honest. Debuff removal is just such an insane thing. And this one here is increases the combat readiness by 15% when using a skill that does not attack all enemies. So this is anytime you use your 2nd or 3rd skill, you get 15 to 30% combat readiness. And Destina is very, very slow, so maybe this is good for those slow HP builds as well. And down to the 3-star ones, I know I'm not being too specific, but these are things you need to test out and kind of see what works with your team more. The important one here at 3-star that I don't have is Prophetic Candlestick, and this is if you use your Destina as a tank. I forgot to mention she's a fantastic tank. If you have her without a knight, you should probably put her in your leader spot just to take all the hits, because she is just so tanky. Prophetic Candlestick is amazing, and honestly, I think it might even be the best PvP one too. This is what I would definitely be using over the 5-star and probably over the 4-star artifacts as well. 40% chance to reduce your cooldown by 1 turn when you attack. That is insane when you've got an AoE heal. I would kill for this, and it's just a stupid 3-star and I can't get it. So I would probably put that as my priority. This is the one I would be using. As for other 3 stars, really just pick the one that kind of suits you. just look at your skills and try to figure out which one fits your team better. This is honestly the one I have on mine because I have her in my golem team right now, and it does help out our auto attacks. It's terrible, but I don't have a better option. So let's take Destina here into a PvP battle. We are in Master 3 right now. There's a good chance I get wrecked here, and I've only got 2 tries. So let's just see what happens. Just to try to show you what you can use your Destina as and what you can do to counter enemy Destina, since that is very important too. So I find her AI, you really need to understand AI in games like this to figure out, wow, that's a Judge Kisei. Oh my god, I want it. Did that increase for 3 turns? That's so good. Wow, this was not the person to attack. Holy crap. I want her so bad. I'm re-rolling for her right now, believe it or not. As for a rating for Destina, let's give her a 5 out of 5 to start with. Honestly, she is insane at the start of the game, but I'm not sure if she's going to fall off later. I feel like without any big utility, she has the Dispel, but that's about it, and some combat readiness, but it's not really enough. I'm not sure if she's going to last in the long run, because the further we get into the game, the more utility is going to matter as opposed to just pure HP regen. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe. As always, I can't even express how much that helps me out. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Bye now.